We'll let you guys get set. Good morning, I'm Doug Neville. I'm the Director of Communications for the Minnesota Department of Public Safety. Thanks for coming out this morning. We're going to have Sheriff Mark Falk, F-A-L-K, he'll have a statement, and then Wade Setter, S-E-T-T-E-R, the Superintendent of the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, will have a statement. And after Mr. Setters completes his statement, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. I also want to acknowledge Mark Rubin, the St. Louis County Attorney, who is here. He's here on behalf of the Minnesota County Attorneys Association, and he's lending his support to Cook County at this point. With that, Sheriff.
Thank you. Well, good morning. I'm Mark Falk, Cook County Sheriff. As you know, we had a very tragic day in Cook County yesterday. But what I can say is that this is a very resilient community. We're a strong community, and we're not going to let something like this take us down. And we're going to make it through this. This is a very strong community, a lot of good people here, and we're going to do a great job. And again, in our thoughts and prayers with the victims and everybody that was involved in this incident. And we certainly have them. We're thinking about them, but we're going to pull through this. So as you know, yesterday, or if you don't know, there was a trial that took place. A gentleman by the name of Daniel Schlenz was on trial for crime sex. He had initially, the case was from back in '06, he had initially pled guilty back in '07 and then withdrew his plea. And it was sent back to district court for trial after the appeal. And that was what he was on trial for yesterday, or this week, I'm sorry. Anyways, the jury returned a guilty verdict. And after the guilty verdict, the county attorney and the assistant county attorney proceeded to their office, and then the defendant, Daniel Schlenz, and his attorney and his mother went to a conference room. At that time, the jurors and the bailiff and the judge were still in the courtroom. At some point in time during the afternoon, the suspect had left the courthouse and retrieved a weapon from his vehicle, which was a handgun. He then returned to the courtroom, or the courthouse. After the guilty verdict and he'd gone in and met with his attorney, he had left the conference room, went outside to get a breath, get some fresh air. He then came back in, and at that point he was going to confront the county attorney. As he got to the county attorney's office, he got to the door, and as he was going to enter, the door opened, and a subpoenaed witness for the trial was at the doorway. At that time, he shot that witness in the leg. The witness then left the office. The suspect then proceeded into the county attorney's office, where he shot the county attorney. He then left the county attorney's office and went back out into the corridor, and then shot the subpoenaed witness again. And then he headed back into the county attorney's office to again confront the county attorney again. At that point in time, there was a struggle inside the county attorney's office. At that time, the judge and the jury were told to leave the courtroom, and then the bailiff then exited the courtroom and went to confront the suspect. There was a struggle inside the county attorney's office. The bailiff had been injured during the struggle, but he was treated and released. We had minor injuries. There was a struggle, a deputy responded, and a state trooper responded. They then struggled some more in the county attorney's office, and the suspect was then taken into custody. The suspect is Daniel Schlenz. He's 42 years old. He's a resident of Grand Marais. Charges are pending and are expected Monday. The Attorney General's office will be prosecuting this case. They've already been contacted. The victims are County Attorney Tim Scannell. He's 45. He's in a hospital in Duluth. The subpoenaed witness is Greg Thompson. He's 53. He's also a Grand Marais resident, and he's also in Duluth. And then the bailiff that was injured is Deputy Gary Radloff. He's also from Grand Marais, and he's 70. And he was treated here at Cook County and was released. Any additional information that you want on the victims, I do know that they're stable, but any other detailed information, you have to contact the hospital down in Duluth. I just want to say that there's a lot of heroes in this case. We didn't have a homicide, and you know, we had the mother of the suspect, we had the assistant county attorney, we had the bailiff, our county attorney. They're all involved in the struggle. The suspect's defense attorney, his attorney, was very critical in probably saving the life of our county attorney. And we also had a first responder, Dave Beckwith, I think was his name. He was very critical in attending to the county attorney. So there was a lot of heroes that really averted something much more serious. Not that this isn't a serious event, but much more serious than what could have happened. And what I can say is there is no further threat to the community. There's one suspect. We have no indications that there are any other suspects. And we're going to get all through this. This is a strong community, and we're going to do great. And I can only appreciate the BCA for their assistance, State Patrol, our local conservation officers, everybody involved, and if I missed who might have been helping us, but it's been just a great teamwork of getting together and taking this issue on and pulling together and making something good's going to come out of this. So, thank you.
Mark, can you give us a spelling on the name?
Wait, let's go with Wade first, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Good morning, everyone. This is a really tough day for the community, and I've known Sheriff Falk for some time, and it's a tribute, I think, how the community and his agency has responded. The fact that this could have been far more serious than what is already a very serious situation. So, on behalf of the Department of Public Safety, we just want to express our condolences and our wishes with the families that have been affected by this, but also the broader community, and we're here to provide whatever assistance that we're able to do. So there are a lot of heroes here. Late yesterday afternoon, Sheriff Falk contacted the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension to request assistance with the investigation and crime scene processing. It's something that we do all over the state of Minnesota. We have agents in 10 field offices, as well as the Bemidji regional office from our lab. They were on scene within hours and have been working closely with the Sheriff's Department and other local law enforcement officials. We're in the process of conducting our investigation, processing the crime scene even as we speak, and furthermore interviewing all of the witnesses impacted, not only in Grand Marais, but some that are in Duluth. The case will be prosecuted by the Attorney General's office. It is not unusual for the Attorney General's office to provide support to local county attorneys, in particular this case where the county attorney was actually a victim of the incident. It certainly makes a lot of sense. The suspect will be due to be charged by noon Monday, and at that point a lot of the details you've heard today will be in the criminal complaint. So with that, Sheriff, any questions?
Any questions at all?
Can you get the spelling of the names?
All three victims.
Yeah. All three victims.
Why don't I give that to you after we wrap up?
Sure.
A question about the witness. Is the witness the father of the victim that Daniel Schlenz was allegedly on trial for?
All I can say is he's a subpoenaed witness for that trial.
Can you speak to the struggle? Was it guns drawn, or was someone trying to wrestle a gun out of his hand? Can you just speak to how that all?
There were weapons involved. I don't know all the details of what happened in their struggle, but there were guns and there were guns drawn. And I do believe there was one shot fired by the bailiff transport officer.
We keep hearing about a fourth person injured. Is that not accurate?
I think there was the fourth person you may be thinking is our assistant county attorney. She was brought to the hospital, but I don't believe she suffered any injuries.
What kind of nature of the trial he was involved in that day when he was found guilty that made him this upset?
He was involved in a crim sex trial. He had initially entered a plea back in '07. And then it was serving time, and while he was serving time, he withdrew his plea, and then there was an appellate or appeal process. It went to the Court of Appeals. They ruled that he had the right to withdraw his plea, and they sent it back to the district court for trial. And that's what he's on trial for this week.
If there was a verdict of guilty, why was he free after that point? Or that cost him?
He was on supervised release. If I'm correct, for supervised release on the initial charge from back in '06, '07.
But immediately after the trial, even then they wouldn't have taken him into custody?
There was, no, he was not remanded or custody after the trial.
Can you talk about the lack of metal detectors and why Cook County does not have them where as many other courthouses around the state do?
You know, we're a small community. We got limited resources, limited funding. You know, that's something that's been explored in the past, but it's, you know, we just don't have the funding to provide all that. And this doesn't, you know, we very rarely have trials in Cook County for one thing. And so this is just a very, very rare event. And I think it's a rare event anywhere in the state of Minnesota. And, you know, so we just have we have a limited resources, limited funding in Cook County to go with it. But that's not something we're certainly going to review our security at the courthouse after this event, and something we did after the Morrison County incident also. So we'll continue to review that and see what changes we need to make.
Do you have any idea where he got his gun and what kind of gun it was?
All I know is he got it from his vehicle, but I don't know where it came from before that.
What kind of gun?
I don't know that.
Was the suspect detained by mace? We had heard in the courthouse he was detained by mace.
I don't have those details.
And the mother of the suspect, she was involved?
She was involved in the struggle of trying to subdue him in the county attorney's office.
And to take away the gun?
I don't know, but it was involved in the struggle.
So what charges do you expect to be filed?
I don't have that information.
That's good.
I've heard that this is kind of his breaking point after years of persecution after he committed these crimes, and he was kind of...
I think persecution is kind of a strong word. You know, what I'm going to say is there's nobody to blame here but Mr. Schlins. Bottom line,